Welcome to the Tech Ranch, live and local here on Super Talk 1270. The latest gadgets, online security, websites and apps, social media, and so much more. How can technology help you? Let's find out. It's time for the Tech Ranch on Super Talk 1270.
From our studios in beautiful Mandan, North Dakota, along the mighty Missouri River, here is your guru of geek, Marlo Anderson.
So what will the new jobs of the future be? And even if you have a job now, you'll probably want to stay tuned and listen to this because maybe your job's going to get phased out in the future. I mean, look what's happened in our industry, the radio industry, over the last few years. So we'll be
it's
talking
all going digital.
Yeah, and there's a lot of things that are going to be changing. So you'll want to stay tuned for when we talk about that a little bit later. 3D printing is always in the news. Mark Sherman, Gerald Galazin will be joining us from Dimension Polymers to talk about the new filaments that are coming out in 3D printing. And we're going to discuss a little bit more than just filaments with them, but that's what they're coming on for. UAV or drones are also in the news again. Well, I think they're in the news every day now.
Those wacky drones.
Yeah, crazy stuff. But the FAA has leaked some new guidelines. So we're going to be talking about what this means for us and how you, yes, you, Jim, can be a new drone operator.
Cool.
So we're talking about that.
I can be a drone entrepreneur.
Exactly. Later in the show, Miss Metaverse will be joining us as well. So welcome back, Jim.
Thank you.
It's you've been.
I was off for 2 weeks. Went back to the
here.
East Coast to attend to some family business. It was kind of a bittersweet thing, seeing family members I haven't seen in a while.
Sure.
And some of them are getting up there, not doing so well health-wise. But I'm back now. And,
Yep.
So tell me what happened in my absence. I understand it's an interesting story.
Well, 2 weeks ago, Scott was filling in for you, and wonderful
Mr.
that he's
McGowan.
here. Yes, Mr. Gowan is here, and of course Lair Dog,
the big boss.
Yes, was here as well, and we were just in the studio, and I don't know what the deal was, but all the different feeds just kept coming in, and then on top of it, the delay was on.
Oh.
And there was like a 6-second delay or a 10-second delay or something too. So as we were talking, it was coming back through the headsets we had on too. So whatever we were saying 6 seconds later was coming back. So we had no clue what was actually being broadcast.
Well, we do. Yeah, we do have a delay system,
yes.
and we do have an override for the operators
Yes.
and the on-air person. There is a switch where you can hear. You know, you don't want to hear yourself over the air because, like you say, it's a delay.
It is very disruptive when that happens.
Very off-putting.
Right. You'd almost have to take your headphones off to do it.
Yes.
So it would be very difficult. So, yeah, after the first 15 minutes, it got a little better, but we had a great time. We had a great time in the studio.
Good.
Of course, we took last week off due to the holiday, which you and I never do. We always do the holiday shows.
Yeah,
but,
I mean, I think we've done New Year's Day together.
We have,
times.
yeah. So, that was the first time in the 3.5 years,
basically
or 3+ years that we didn't have a
Christmas
show.
and 1 or 2 other days during the year.
Well, we usually figure out something to do on those days too. But anyway, it was actually nice to have a day off.
Actually, didn't we work Christmas Day one year? I think we did.
Or at least Christmas
on
Eve or
Christmas
something.
Day.
Yeah,
Might have been. Yeah.
But anyway, so good to have you back, Jim. Really
Thank you.
appreciate it. All kinds of things for us to catch up on too. So at 1:15, we're going to get into 3D printing, but I always like to feature a couple of unique things, whatever. So my Kickstarter project of the week is a product called Buddy Rescue, and this kind of is for pets.
Oh, okay.
So you're a cat lover, or I mean, I know you have cats. I know you're allergic to cats.
I love the cats.
Yeah.
I love dogs.
Yep.
I'm a dog person
Yep.
too.
So Buddy Rescue is about that. What happens, there's a little tag that goes on, and we've talked about these things before.
Yeah.
But if you have a fire or something in your house, what this does is it coordinates with your fire rescue, emergency rescue, so that they know if there's a pet inside the house or whatever as it's on fire. And it actually has a locator on it so that the fire department or whatever can actually locate the pet.
If they can get to
if
it,
they can
sure.
get to it. Yep, absolutely. Yeah. And so you can check this out. If you go to BR, instead of www, type in br.vinelight.com. You can go check this out. It also keeps track of a lot of other things, too. So if you're, the shots that you have to get for your pets and their meals and that type of thing, if they're on a special type of meal, you can actually keep track of all this stuff with Buddy Rescue. So it's kind of
cool. Now, is this like the thing that they implant under the skin?
I believe it goes on the collar.
Okay.
Yep, it's on the collar. Although I wouldn't be surprised if sometime in the future it wouldn't be something along those lines as well. So, but at this time, and they have, like I said, they have a Kickstarter campaign. So if you like this type of thing, you can go to Kickstarter.com and check out Buddy Rescue. So, pretty cool deal. The other cool website that I thought this was, and I mean, it's nothing spectacular. I love to find just, but unique takes on things. That's kind of what I like to find online. And are you familiar with HostGator?
What's it called again?
HostGator. It's a place that you host websites and that type. Yep, just like it sounds.
Alligator?
Yep, exactly. HostGator.com.
HostGator, okay.
So they are very, very popular. One of the most popular
Not familiar
places.
With it at all.
Well, if you're not a web designer or whatever, or a company that needs to host a website, I've done some stuff on HostGator before. They're a very reputable company.
Okay. And
like HostGator. And what I find interesting is there's a website called HGCoupons.com. HDG is short for HostGator. HostGator coupons. So if you go to HGCoupons.com, and that's HG, I think I'm saying that all the time here, HGCoupons.com. You can actually get discounts for HostGator.
All right.
So, I mean, it's like what I find interesting about it, and there's like a spin-off of HostGator. You can go there and get coupons or whatever for them. So I'd go check that out, too. If you're looking at hosting a site, they have some great deals on there. So certainly go out and check that out. Drones. Oh, my goodness, has there been news about drones lately. And we could literally spend the whole show on this today, Jim. But the FAA has leaked information, and maybe it's official now, but it was leaked a few days ago, about the easing of the regulations for commercial enterprises. Okay?
Easing of the regulations.
The easing of the regulations. Okay. So up until this point, it's been basically illegal to charge for services. So if you were a photographer and wanted to take photos with a drone or do some videoing with a drone, for example, and you could do it for free, you could put it up in there and do it for free. But as soon as I charged you, Jim, for the service, I was committing an illegal act. So they've eased this regulation. So anybody who wants to utilize drones for maybe working with precision ag, or surveilling pipelines, that type of thing. These companies can now start charging for those services.
I see it getting to a point where you can use it, but you have to get a license for it, kind of licensing.
Interesting that you bring this up.
Oh.
Because to this point, you had to have a pilot's license.
Really?
Yes. If you were going to operate drones up to 55 pounds, you had to have a pilot's license.
If you're on the ground operating the drone, you have to have a pilot's license.
That's correct.
Interesting.
Okay. Now, you just need to have an operator's license. Mm-hmm. So think of it as going and get your driver's test for your car.
Okay.
You're going to have an operator's license to fly a drone as well. Now the hobby ones, that's a totally different thing.
Okay.
The hobby ones that you see up and around town or around somebody's backyard or whatever, totally different. But if you're going to start charging for services, you have to have an operator's license.
Oh, for commercial purposes.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Absolutely correct. So,
well, what about license for the drone itself? I mean, it would be like having you have a driver's license and your car is also licensed.
Yes.
Are they going to do that with the drones?
Well, I don't know if they're going to actually have. It's a good question. I don't know. And I know we're coming up on break here, aren't we? So, all right, we'll continue the conversation after the break, everybody. Very interesting question, and we'll also be talking about 3D printing. So come on back.
Currently, it's 16.
Get the app called Radio Pup for your iPhone and take us everywhere you go. Bismarck and Mandan's own Super Talk 1270.
Follow the Guru of Geek at Facebook.com/The Tech Ranch, or Twitter at Guru of Geek, or TheTechRanch.com. Here again is your Guru of Geek, Marlo Anderson.
And we want to welcome and thank all the people who listen to us across the country and around the world on the Blueberry Network, on the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here. Of course, we're on iTunes, the Roku, and our own app, Radio Pup. So all kinds of places that you can catch the Tech Ranch now live or later if you want to catch up with what we got going on.
On demand.
Yes, on demand. And, of course, you can find all those links as well at thetechranch.com.
Yeah.
And
I do believe we have our call.
All right. Are we talking to Mark and Gerald?
Yeah.
Hey.
Hold on just a second, guys.
Yeah.
I am trying to get Mark to get on as well.
Okay.
All right. Well, of course, you're live on the air right now, so
Don't
we're gonna
say anything too dirty.
we're gonna embarrass you as much as we can while you're trying to make this
No problem.
technology here going. So, why don't we do this? Well, as soon as you get your connection together, just interrupt us. Jim and I were just talking about drones, and Jim, you had a question right before the break about.
We're talking about the licensing of drones, not just the operators, but of the devices themselves.
Right.
I mean, like with a car, the driver has a license as an operator, and the car itself has to be licensed with a tag and everything.
Right. So I don't know if there's actually going to be a license, although it wouldn't surprise me. But of course, they have to go through.
Because I'm sure they're concerned about
inspections.
safety
Oh, absolutely.
considerations. You got these things flying around over people's heads.
Yeah, and they have to be certified. I mean, so there is that. There's one thing that's come out, though. You know, you and I talk a lot about the ability of people to fly over other people's houses and do whatever.
Well, somebody did a video here in town that we had posted on one of the websites about, it was right before I left for my trip.
Okay.
Somebody had a drone with a little camera on it, and they were flying over certain neighborhoods.
Oh, yeah.
Here in Bismarck.
Yep.
And people were just looking up at them and waving at them or whatever.
Yep, and I think that's pretty much what people normally do. But there's actually like the no-call list.
Right.
Okay. There's actually a website you can go to now called noflyzone.org.
Oh.
And if you register your address there, the people who buy drones, this database is actually put into that drone, and your drone will not fly over that airspace.
So if you're concerned about privacy
yes,
issues,
absolutely,
or
you
just
can
don't
actually
like a thing flying over your head.
You can actually register, and that'll prevent a lot of drones from flying over the top of you.
That's perfectly fair.
It is fair.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, the best material to make a drone out of is recycled plastic you can use in a 3D printer.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
That was a great segue there. So who are we speaking with?
This is Gerald Gallazin and Mark Sherman from Dimension Polymers.
Welcome to the Tech Ranch, gentlemen. We're excited to have you on board, and we talk about 3D printers an awful lot on the Tech Ranch. In fact, it's one of our favorite topics. And you have kind of a unique polymer that you guys are kind of coming out with. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the company, and then tell us a little bit about your newest endeavor.
You know, we founded in June of 2014, and we're just trying to get the word out about our material. We've been trying to let everybody know that we're making 3D printing filament from recycled material for the first time ever. Nobody's ever done it, and we want to make sure everybody knows that we have material that's just as good as brand new ABS, and we're also environmentally friendly, so you should be able to feel good about 3D printing.
So why is it important that we start moving in this direction?
You know, as our website and our Kickstarter campaign describes, you know, plastic is all over the place. It's in our landfill, it's in our oceans, it's all over the place. And when we 3D print and we waste plastic, you know, if the prints are no good, usually we throw them away or we do other things with it. And then every other industry out there, you know, there's waste plastic, and that gets thrown away. So if we can take that plastic and reclaim even just a portion of it, the 3D printing industry by itself is huge, and the projected growth is, you know, 30 to 40% annually plastic usage. You know, 8 billion barrels of oil by the year 2020 on a yearly basis. And if we can just put a small dent in that by reclaiming plastic and reusing it in our filaments, then why wouldn't we do that?
So is there a particular type of plastic that you can use to reclaim for 3D printers? I mean, can I take my soda pop bottle and, you know, basically make a 3D printable filament?
You know, there's a misconception about doing that. Some companies out there claim you can take your soda bottles and just throw them in a grinder and grind them up, and you'll be able to 3D print with it. The problem with soda bottles specifically is the actual bottle, the cap, and the label are three different types of plastic, and they're not very compatible. So if you throw that thing in there and grind it up without knowing what you're doing, you're actually going to make more waste, and then you can't recycle it, you can't 3D print with it, and it'll actually be unsafe in some printers because, you know, you'll have those pops and defects from air bubbles and things like that. So that's just not a good plan.
Okay, I was just wondering, you know, what kind of plastics that are. I just kind of threw that out there. I didn't even know that there was some people who have actually attempted to do that, Gerald. So that's interesting that we kind of hit on that a little bit. So, tell us a little bit about your Kickstarter program. How's that going? How's it being received?
It's going, being well received by media, by Twitter. We've got a lot of people interested in it. We're about 80% funded right now with
Great.
Just a few days to go, a little over a week. And, a lot of people ordering spools from us. That's one of the big rewards that we have is the spool of our material. And it's coming along. So we're hoping to get a little bit more traction here in the last few days so we can reach our $20,000 goal and get the manufacturing cost down so that we can actually make this thing at an affordable cost.
So why don't you give us the URL real quick of your Kickstarter?
You can go to Kickstarter.com and find us. It's the world's first 3D printing filament made from recycled plastic. It should be pretty easy to find.
Okay, and I'll throw a link up on the techranch.com as well so people can find that if you're interested in supporting their Kickstarter and getting some environmentally friendly filament for your 3D printer. And, of course, I think that, of course, will be a big deal in the future as well. Because you're absolutely right. I don't know anybody when they make their first print from a 3D printer that it doesn't end up in the garbage.
Oh, yeah. And their first through probably their 50th print. Most of the time, you're going through several iterations of engineering designs and changes and just learning how to 3D print in the first place. You're going to make a lot of bad prints.
So I'm going to guess that you've been 3D printing for a little while.
Yeah, we do it just kind of as a hobby on the side, and that's how we got interested in it.
So what's probably the coolest thing that you've done with a 3D printer?
One of the coolest things, it didn't really serve a purpose per se, but we actually 3D printed a Yoda bust, and it was pretty cool looking. So we have a picture of that on our website. If you go to our blog section, dimensionpolymers.com. In the blog section, there's a picture of him we printed.
Okay, very cool.
In the blog, the picture is of Yoda.
Yeah, there is.
Very good, Jim. I like that.
Thank you.
So, all right, everybody, just go and check them out, Dimension Polymers, and support their Kickstarter campaign. I think this is a great use of maybe recycling some plastic we have out there, and at the very least, if you're using recycled plastic for your 3D printing, you won't feel so guilty about throwing away the first 50 pieces you print.
Well, and something else we're looking to do is actually reclaim those wasted prints. Primarily, our first product line is ABS plastic, and
Okay.
that's what is the most widely used 3D printing plastic out there. We're looking at a model right now that's going to let us take back the used prints and actually try and remanufacture those into filament again.
Interesting. That's a great idea, I think. So, all right. Well, Mark and Gerald, let's have you back on the show in the future, a little bit after the Kickstarter campaign's over with, and we'll see how you're doing at that time, okay?
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Thanks, Mark. Thanks, Gerald. All right, Mr. Jim. So the drones, as we like to talk about. Okay. So FAA proposes rules to open the sky to some commercial drones, but delivery drones remain grounded.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So the big deal here is that you can charge for services, like if you want to surveil a crop, for ag-based, or like I said, you want to check out a windmill or maybe a house after it's been hailed on. I mean, these are all kinds of uses that you'll find for drones and many more.
Insurance claims adjusters.
Absolutely.
Go look at buildings and whatnot.
Wouldn't you rather
Architects
put that up there instead of going on top of, so especially, I think about my house. I hate going on the roof of my house. These peaks are I mean, they're high off the ground, and the last thing I want to do is fall off one of those
radio
things.
towers. I mean, we have to hire guys to climb up and down the towers when they need maintenance.
I've looked at those things. That is insane, actually.
It is.
You would need, although that goes over the 400-foot barrier, some of those towers, so you would actually need a special permit to make that happen.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, they're opening it up to some commercial use, but delivery drones, like I said, are going to remain grounded. So don't expect a pizza delivery
Not
to
yet.
happen soon, or your Amazon package or whatever to be
How does
delivered.
that work? The thing lands at the door and rings the doorbell?
Did you ever seen there's actually a prank YouTube video, and this guy goes out and he's knocking on doors pretending he's with the Postal Service and says, by the way, your mail's going to be delivered by drone. And this gal comes out and she's like, well, how's this going to work? And he goes, well, here comes one now. And it comes flying over, and it literally drops all the mail in the front yard and then just goes on. It was absolutely hilarious. It won't quite be that way. But anyway, after the break, everybody, Miss Metaverse will be joining us, and we'll be talking about the jobs of the future. So come on back.
Currently, it's 16.
Your news leader, weeknights at 6 and 10. Super Talk 1270.
We're back to the Tech Ranch. Stream this program now at supertalk1270.com. Here is your guru of geek, Marlo Anderson.
So, Jim, is the Weather Service lying to us today?
Well, they told me it was going to be 35 this morning.
It's
I had
got
the guy
a
on the
long
phone.
ways to go to get there. I suppose I mean, we've seen weirder things happen, of course. Are we getting the front
yeah.
moving through later today, or what's the deal?
Could be. I don't know.
Wow.
They just told me that it would be in the mid to upper 30s by this afternoon. Well, we're a half hour away from it being technically
right.
afternoon, and 16 degrees is nowhere near 35 as far as I'm concerned.
Interesting. So that'll be interesting. So anyway, we're going to be talking about the jobs. It's all about the jobs.
Yep. Get a job.
So and on the phone for the first time, and well, I guess she was with the Backled show a couple weeks ago. But welcome back to the Tech Ranch, Miss Metaverse.
Oh, well, thank you so much.
How you doing?
I'm doing really well. How are you doing?
Doing fine as well. Wow. It feels like the family's come back together. We got Jim in the studio.
I'm back.
Katie's out on the East Coast on the phone with us.
Children have returned.
Yes, it's like the regular show again. Yes, exactly. So we want to talk about jobs of the future today. And I've been kind of teasing people a little bit about that you don't, what we're about ready to talk about is probably something that everybody should be attuned to, because things are changing quite rapidly right now.
Yeah.
And what you are doing today may not be a job of the future.
Tell me about it.
So it's important. It's not just, it's important for our students that are coming out of college right now, of course, and out of high school, but it affects everybody. And I think we're at one of those transitional times in our economy.
Yeah.
I go back to when cars first came out. That transition from horse and buggy to automotive took 20 years. I don't think we have that kind of time with the new transition that's going to be happening here in the near future.
So we're all sitting here making buggy whips and thinking we've got it made to the shade for the next 100 years.
That's
not
exactly correct.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think we put enough fear into people now, Kate. So so I have a list of some of the jobs of the future. Have you thought about this topic at all?
I think about jobs in the future every single day because it's such a big topic. It really is. I mean, it's like you said, it's a scary thing to think about, but it's true. I mean, we have to think about jobs that would shape our planet. It's what we do. It's what we contribute to our world. So it's one of the biggest things to talk about.
So I have a list of stuff here that we'll get through, but I have a couple things at the top of this list that I should say that I don't even have on the list that are top of mind to me. And the first thing is the automotive industry. Since we literally were just talking about the changeover from horse and buggy to cars that happened 100 to 120 years ago, we're at kind of that time period again, aren't we?
I think so. We're looking at exponential change right now, and the thing is, a lot of us don't really know what that change really looks like, and that's why I think futurism is really important, because it's not just about thinking about the future or some sci-fi visions of where we might be headed, but I think that futurism is important today because it's learning about where we're headed, and I think that's a lot of us don't really know how to plan ahead, and I think that foresight and being able to look into where our technologies are taking us is more important now than ever, because like you're saying, I mean, what's going to happen to our jobs? What's going to happen? It's just too much change.
Right, absolutely. So the first thing I think about is autonomous cars. I mean, the cars are coming. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
We've all, in the studio have talked about this extensively. Some of us have even ridden in some already. I mean, the technology is coming at us. And, the thing is that the first thing I think about is that everything that I've seen talks about safety and the substantial reduction of accidents and deaths.
Yeah.
So you think about a 90% reduction in accidents and deaths due to the fact that we'll be driving autonomous vehicles. That is just a huge game changer when it comes to that industry. Because if you're in automotive repair,
yeah,
what's your job look like 10 years from now?
If you sell car insurance, how is that going to change?
It will change.
It will, boy, will it ever.
What about emergency responders?
Yeah.
I mean, these things are still critically important, but the number of people that are going to be needed will probably diminish over the years, but they'll change. So, if I was in the automotive repair business right now, I'd be looking at how maybe I change my workforce to, say, adapt to maintenance for automotive or for autonomous vehicles.
Yeah.
Because that'll be the thing. You're going to have to do software updates. You're going to have all this other stuff. So you just have to make that change. So what are your thoughts on that, Kate?
Well, just like we're seeing right now, BMW just recently announced that they're coming out with those glasses that I think we actually discussed this the last time we were talking. And so BMW came out with augmented reality glasses that are going to allow the mechanics, not only for the drivers themselves, to wear the glasses and be able to enjoy benefits like seeing through the car and having greater visibility, but the mechanics themselves will be wearing these AR glasses that will allow them to fix the cars by the book and actually be able to see holograms that will allow them to make different changes. So like you're saying before, I do agree with you. I think that this technology is going to be changing, but I think there's going to be a lot of training, and we're going to be able to evolve with that. And there will be people needed to fix, like you said, to fix robots. I think that maybe mechanics could even remotely work from different areas and actually operate these machines that will be building cars. It's just a different way of looking at it, really.
It really,
I think that there will be training and a shift.
Yep. I agree. It will be a different way of looking at it. And you just have to be ready for this. If you're a company or a company that really does a lot of work with automotive repair and that type of thing, I think you just need to kind of have a heads up that this is coming down the pikeway, and you just need to be prepared for it. So, and you brought up the next thing that I actually have on my list, and that is augmented reality. And this is a huge future growth opportunity, and I look at the younger generation, the millennials right now, that will probably, be able to take advantage of this. We'll all be using this technology. And Kate, since you've experienced a lot of augmented reality, technology, why don't you explain to everybody what we're talking about here?
Right. So augmented reality, or sometimes as it's called AR for brief. So basically what it is that you're going to be able to wear glasses that will allow you to interact with your environment, and it's just like you're looking right now. If you're wearing these glasses, and like Google Glass, basically, you'll be able to interact with the virtual landscape as well as what you're seeing in your everyday reality. So, and there's a lot of different ways that this can actually help change our society. But this isn't happening a couple years from now. It's happening right now. And I think what's really interesting is that everything's going to be changing, like the way we work. And as I was saying before, companies like BMW are going to be having their mechanics wear these augmented reality glasses to help them service vehicles. And everything from teachers to psychologists to mechanics to everybody is going to be affected by this technology. And I think that it's very smart to be interested and to get yourself involved by learning of how you can innovate your own business, no matter what you're doing. Any business can benefit from this technology. And just as computers have benefited businesses, and now everyone has a digital storefront, a virtual storefront, that's your website, right? Everyone needs a website.
Exactly.
Well, where we're headed with augmented reality is that we're going to have augmented reality apps and things like that. You need to evolve with this technology, and that's how you can be ahead of the game and also stay relevant, really.
In fact, I would say that for the most part, most companies, large or small now, have an IT department, and, whether they, if you're a smaller company, maybe you don't have an IT person on staff, but you have somebody that you work with that takes care of your computers or whatever. But most companies have somebody on staff right now. I actually believe that's where augmented reality is going in the future, too. I think about the energy sector, since we're located next to it. I would think that a lot of the people who work on rigs and that type of thing, I mean, think of the ability to, if a methane gas leak occurs and you have glasses that can see that, and that's what's happening here with augmented reality. You're going to have this information right in front of you, and you'll be able to, this literally saves lives, saves countless dollars. And but somebody has to be there to take care of this. So if you want a field that you think is going to be a very exciting field to get into, I think augmented reality is a great place to get going.
I definitely agree. The same with virtual reality as well. But it's two different things, right? Virtual reality and augmented reality. Right. But both are equally as exciting, and I think both will definitely have a great effect on all businesses.
So the next thing I have on my list, Katie, is the cloud. I think there are so many opportunities for work moving forward with the cloud. And again, you're my encyclopedia today, so you get to explain to everybody what the cloud is.
Right. So the cloud is basically being able to work and store data on the web. And that's had a huge change on a lot of different businesses, even filmmakers, right? A couple years ago, there was a huge problem with people that used Adobe Photoshop and Adobe Premiere, which is Photoshop is what photo editors would use to manipulate photos and do like airbrushing and things like that. Right. So people were downloading these programs online through torrenting and other programs. And basically using this technology for free. People are downloading Photoshop for free and using it.
All right, Katie, hold your thought right there. We'll continue the discussion after the break. Come on back, everybody. We'll continue to talk about the jobs of the future.
Currently, it's 19.
Get the traffic and weather information you need anytime on Super Talk 1270 and online at supertalk1270.com.
Follow the Guru of Geek everywhere he goes. Post your comments or questions at thetechranch.com. Once again, your Guru of Geek, Marlo Anderson.
And in studio, of course, is the tech geezer. Hey, you're awake?
Yeah, right.
and on the phone.
You woke me up for this.
Just for that. I just want to let everybody know that you're here. You're normally just sleeping in the corner. So.
Who's on the phone? Is that tech chickie on the phone?
It is. The tech chickie.
She's hot, man. Oh, yeah.
On the phone, Miss Metaverse, Katie Aquino. And Kate, we were just talking a little bit about the cloud. I suppose, Tech Geezer, you have an idea what the cloud is?
Yeah, it's around my head.
That's exactly right.
I wake up in the morning, and there it is.
Yeah, the brain cloud.
I got to stop smoking in bed.
Anyway, we were just talking about the cloud, and Kate, you were giving us an idea about what the cloud is. So if you want to finish that discussion, that'd be great.
Definitely. All right. So basically, to track back to what I was saying, it was people are downloading programs like Photoshop online through torrenting websites, and so basically, when things like this happen, companies have to find innovative ways to come back and gain business again. So what Adobe did was they came up with the Creative Cloud, which is a way that basically you could pay a monthly subscription fee of, say, $19.99 a month, and that would give you access to all of Adobe's programs and all of the updates, and it's all stored in the cloud, and you can work in the cloud, which is great. So I think that that's what we're seeing is we're seeing all kinds of companies starting to offer subscription-based services, and that includes continuous updates and access to everything and being able to save everything online so you don't have to keep everything on your computer.
And in fact, you could take it one step farther. Even our operating systems I believe most of Windows 10 will be cloud-based as well. And, of course, Chrome is cloud-based. You're just going to see more and more and more of cloud-based applications. Whether you like it or not, it's happening, and there'll be lots of job opportunities in there as well. So other job opportunities I have on my list is drone operators. How big a deal do you think that's going to be, Kate?
I think that is, well, it's a little hard to say. I mean, there's definitely going to be people needed to operate them for sure. It's a little difficult because will they become automated? Will people have to actually be out there and service them? I'm sure that's going to happen. But drones, when we think about drones, we're not just talking about, these toy drones like some people have today. We're talking about big drones that will be used for search and rescue missions, and drones that are like flying cars almost, So that's kind of really going to be a huge change of, how it's going to be used. So I think I definitely think that it's going to have an effect on jobs. I think that there's definitely going to be new types of jobs that will allow people to work on and manage and operate the drones for sure.
Well, and you think about it, and I'll pick on, we talk a lot about, hate to mention a lot of companies, but Amazon's always in the news about delivery of product. And, somebody, at this point anyway, somebody has to be flying those. And you're right, in the future they may become automated, but in the near future that will all be, somebody has to be behind. You just can't put an autonomous drone up in the air at this point because it's illegal to do so for the delivery of goods, even though that is still illegal as well. But the surveil of pipelines, all of that stuff has to be managed by somebody who's flying it. So I think for the immediate future, if you wanted to get into drone, being a dispatcher for drones or whatever you want to call that, huge opportunity there.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
So, okay. So drones are it. And I know we actually have a program based out of a small college here in North Dakota in precision ag. And they train people in this industry, and almost immediately out of college, most of these students are making anywhere from $80,000 plus immediately out of school. So there's even good money in it. And I think I should go back to my Wii and start learning how to fly a drone because because I wouldn't mind doing that, actually. That'd be a lot of fun. So, okay, the next thing I have on my list is 3D printers and what that's going to do as far as change. And I'm not talking so much about the industry itself. I'm talking about how it's going to change other things. For example, if you're in the medical field and, there's the 3D printers are going to come up with ways to either augment our bodies or actually, body part replacement, that type of thing. That is going to be a huge growth industry. And when I say huge, it's hard to even put a number on it right now because, if we have the ability to print a lung or print a kidney in the future, somebody has to be monitoring these things in hospitals, and I just think it's absolutely huge.
I agree. I think that both that implication is definitely going to happen. I think that I really hope that we start having that soon. I know that I think in March there's supposed to be a huge announcement about some new breakthroughs in 3D printing organs. So I'm looking forward to that. And I do think that there will be people having to be in hospitals and laboratories monitoring and watching and also researching new types of ways of using this technology in the medical field, but also, too, it's even beyond just the medical. I think that all businesses are going to be affected by 3D printing, and it's going to change the way that both products are manufactured and also the way that we are able to customize anything from products perhaps maybe on Amazon, but everything could be customized. If we want something, we could have it made just for us. I think the idea of that versus mass manufacturing is going to have a huge change on the way that companies provide and also issue out different services.
Absolutely. I mean, 3D printing is literally going to change the way we do so much. And you're right. We may buy products in the future that instead of actually having the item shipped to us, that we basically buy the 3D printing plan or whatever you want to call it, and print the doorknob or print whatever we need at home, much like we use inkjet printers for nowadays. So it is a fundamental shift, and I think people have to be aware of that as well. The other things I have on my list, and I'm pushing you because we're running out of time here, of course. Let's see here. The big deals. I got 20 of them here. I'm trying to pick the Internet of Things. I think that's probably the other big growth opportunity. So why don't you talk real quick in about 15 seconds about what the Internet of Things are?
The Internet of Things is that everything's being upgraded. So it could be a toaster that's connected to Wi-Fi, or it could be a smart automated home system that when you walk in your house, all the lights turn on and every music that you like is playing, and it's automating everything, basically. Everything's going to be smart. Everything's going to be connected. And that's what we're seeing right now is how different companies are racing to come up with new ways to put average things online and on the Internet.
Right. So, and again, because there's so much growth in this, in fact, we have, if I remember my statistics right, about 5 billion devices on the Internet right now across the world. They expect by 2020 there'll be 20 billion. And most of these items most of these things that are going on the Internet are not computers. We're actually kind of getting to the saturation point with computers. There's some areas of growth there yet, of course, but many of us are actually going the other way now. We don't have 3 or 4 computers anymore. We have a single computer and maybe a tablet or something like that, and a smart device that we carry with us. So that's the growth that you're going to see, and anybody who's interested in connectivity, huge opportunities there for that person as well.
For sure. I think that what we're seeing is everything's being upgraded, everything's going online, and there's going to be a lot of different jobs needed. And I think that, too, what we're seeing is a combination of all these technologies, or what's being known as the maker movement. So younger kids, just like how kids now go through STEM or STEAM learning, these kids are learning how to become engineers.
Yep.
And I think our kids are going to be way smarter than us in a lot of different ways. I mean, they're going to be able to grow up. Imagine going to school and growing up and and actually learn how to build robots, and having grown up with the technology and the Internet that we have today. I mean, it's so different. It's going to be more difficult for us to keep up with them, I think, for sure, in a
Absolutely.
way. But
so, all right, we're going to really change gears here, Kate. Jim and I wanted to make just a quick little touch on something that happened locally. So go ahead, Jim.
Oh, you were going to talk about the music awards.
Yeah. We had last Thursday night the first ever North Dakota Music Awards.
Right.
And we're really getting off topic here now, Kate, but we just want to talk about this real quick. And we made the announcement of the North Dakota Music Hall of Fame that night. That's going to actually be located right here in Mandan, North Dakota. So we're very, very excited about that. Had a couple inductees, and I think you know who those inductees are.
Bobby V was one.
That's correct.
And Lawrence Will.
Very good.
Thank
very
you,
good.
boys.
Yeah, wonderful.
Turn off the bubble machine.
So if anybody wants to know more about the North Dakota Music Hall of Fame, you can go to ndmusichall.com, ndmusichall.com, and find out more information about that. Tech Geezer, thanks again.
Hey.
Miss Metaverse, thanks for being on the show. And Jim, pleasure as always.
Likewise.
All right, everybody have a great week, and we'll talk to you again at the same bat time next week.